Hey y'all, this is Laura with Hop Fan Media, and today I'm going to be showing you how to recover this seat on an 09 Ford F-150. Let's get to it. So the first thing we're going to do is remove the seat and get it into the shop so that we can recover it. I'm going to give you a very speedy rundown of how to take the seat out because it is slightly different per model. Okay, so first things first, we need to get this plastic piece off. You take your pry tool, get you up under that little thing, and pop, boom. Then you're going to take your breaker bar, take off this bolt, take off that bolt. Okay, now we're going to come to the back, get your pry tool up under this little pop, pop it, that little pop, pop it, this little pop, pop it, and this little pop, pop, pop it. Now we're going to take our handy dandy screwdriver, get up under there and pop it out, get up under that one, pop it out. Ew, that's disgusting down in there. Now we're going to take our breaker bar, unscrew this bolt, now we're going to go to the other one, now we're going to slip this off right here. We're going to take these pieces, set them aside. Okay, so we're just going to gently pull this out. Because, you know, plastic and breaking. Okay, let's get our pry tool. Just push on that. Okay, that's one of them. Oh, okay, so I'm going to grab this part from the driver's side. Just going to pull it. Oh, it's so difficult. Okay. I mean, they made this thing to break. Okay, now we got our piece. You're just gonna have to wiggle it out, try this side, try that side, kind of just wiggle it. Now we're gonna set this aside. Okay, so now I'm going to put the seat back about to where it's in the middle. Then I'm gonna push it back. I'm gonna get this handle right here. You just pull this handle up and it buckles. And then we're going to unplug it, but you have to take the battery off first, like have to. So we're gonna go take the battery off. Okay, so we've got our tools here. I have a mini socket wrench set. It's really great for batteries. 8mm. Loosen it up. Okay, and then we're gonna pop it off. Okay, and then I'm gonna take this rag, put it right over the terminal, and let it sit there. Because of the way this one's situated, it's going to be very difficult to stick it somewhere else. You don't always have to do this, but with this particular vehicle, it just helps to put a rag over the terminal so there's no accidents. Okay, so unlike a lot of these wire terminals, instead of pushing in to pins and pulling it out and damaging wires, this little pin right here, you just push the gray piece over that black piece like this, like that, and then this handle pushes your connector out. Isn't that amazing? I love it. Okay. So now I'm going to pull my seat back up. Make sure your wire isn't in the way. Don't want to pinch that. So to get the seat belt off, we just pop this. Okay, we're good. You just pop this plastic cover off, and then hear a few little snaps. There we go. Set that aside. We got to get to this bolt right here, and that is a torque. Okay, this is a T50 torque or star bit. Just trying to be very careful because of the plastic that's sitting right here. Okay, then kind of have to get it around that, around this, and goes back up in there. So now our seat is free. Okay, so now we're in the shop, and the first thing we've got to do is take off this whole plastic assembly, and the place we're going to start is right back here on this side of the seat. Okay, so this is the first bolt we're going to take out. It's right behind the seat panel. And we're just going to slip this 7mm socket over it. And we're going to start on the other side. Now there is a little torque screw back behind the power seat housing, so we're just going to twist it out with a T20. Okay, perfect. So now we're going to pull this through. I'm going to push that tab in and pull. Okay. Now we're going to push that through. Get it out of our way. All of this is free, but this is still holding on. And it is a snap. And just kind of give it some jerks. Yeah, it's snapped in there. I'm going to get my pry tool, get behind the snap, and push it out. There we go. So I'm going to take my pry tool again. You want to get it right behind that plastic post right there. Just going to push. There it is, right there. That was the angle I needed. Perfect. Now it all comes off. So now that we have all the plastic assembly off, we're going to take it and flip it. So there are a lot of wires here that have to be taken out. I'm going to start with this one. Okay, for this first yellow one, we're going to take this red tab right here, push it down, and we're going to take a screwdriver, push the yellow tab in, and pull it out. Now for the black one right above it, there's a tab right behind it. Push it in, pull it out. Next one is right here, directly across from the yellow one. Gonna get your screwdriver in right here. Push, and pulls right out. Next ones are these gray ones here and down here on this motor housing. So we're gonna start with this one, push in the tab, and then slide it forward. There we go. Pulls right out. Same thing down here. There we go. And then we're going to move around to this one. Push in the tab right here. Wiggle it out. Okay, so on most of the other models, the screws can be found directly on the pan, like pan to pan screw down. But on this model, they are right behind here. We're gonna slip that off right here and down here, and same on the other side. So I'm gonna put an extension on my wrench. It's a 13mm socket. Okay, so here's the bolt. Gonna set it down on our table. Now I'm gonna move down to the next one. Take a T40 screwdriver. I'm gonna stick it into the back of that bolt and then unscrew it. Now we're going to take a pry tool, pop it out. Now things are getting a little loose, so I'm going to grab it from the middle. There we go. Okay, yellow housing right here. It's going to have to pop out because it's still attached. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now that we have that bottom piece removed, the next thing we're going to do is you put this back on so that you can push it and push your seat back. Okay, there we go. This does not come off in one piece. Instead, the foam and the fabric just pull out and this stays. So, first things first, you start pulling up these plastic pieces. Okay, we've got another plastic snap. I'm just gonna rip this, that's what I'm gonna do. So, I just opted to rip it. So we're not gonna use it again anyway. There's one on the very bottom. I need to get to the bottom one, so the bottom one's been taken out. I'm gonna lift this up. There's a piece of Velcro right here. Pull it off. Okay, there we go. There's a little bit of Velcro on the other side too. Okay, now, go. Okay, so we've got our seat. We're going to flip it over. First thing we're going to do is take this strap and pull it through. And we're going to take our sides. You fold them in and down. There we go. And now you're going to have some Velcro on the other side. Oh no, we have hog rings first. Delightful. Okay, so I'm going to cut these hog rings off. A little snip, snip. There we go. There should be 3. Okay. Okay. So, after the hog rings are off, you've got Velcro, and you have to be very careful with this Velcro. So what you do is you grab it with your 2 fingers like this, and put your thumb on the Velcro and push down on the Velcro. You're not so much pulling on the seat cover as you are pushing down. There we go. Now you want to make sure you collect all the little hog ring pieces because those can puncture your new seat cover and you really don't want that. Okay, so then you're going to take your new cover. You're going to want to line your Velcro up with that line and it slips right in. And you just fold over and push. There you go. Okay, so you're gonna hook that over your foam and push that down. Kind of squeeze it a little bit to give it that bend that it's gonna need to hook onto your seat. Okay, now we're going to pull this back. You're gonna need some hog rings and one of these tools to get this job done. I don't think, if you don't have them, if you're doing this at home and you don't have them and you feel like you could, get along pretty well without them, then more power to you. I absolutely hate these things. So you're gonna hook it on, no, that's the wrong one. Okay, here it is. So this little plastic piece right here, you're gonna put your hog ring in and then push down and squeeze. And then you check to make sure it's in, and it's in. Push down, squeeze. There we go. If you don't push down hard enough, then it's going to miss and you're going to have to cut it out. Hook, push, squeeze. And that's in. Now we're going to fold it over our edges, turn it over. And this is where you just kind of check all your fittings, make sure everything's nice and tight, flip it over, check it, push on your Velcro, sides look good, and now we're ready to put it back on. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is get this to slide between this metal pan and the back of the seat. So we're going to just kind of finger that through and wiggle. I'm going to reach my hand through to the other side. And I'm going to pull and push and wiggle and just do whatever I gotta do to get it to go down. Lift up, pull that through. And this is the first clip I'm gonna put on. It just slides right on like that. This one's pretty easy. Now we're going to take this one. It's kind of difficult, but you have to pull it down like this. There we go. I'm going to go to this one. Same thing. Kind of match it up. Twist. There we go. Okay, so next thing we're going to put this back on. So on this side, we're going to feed the seat belt right up through here. Okay. Okay, so you're going to put your back end through. This goes over it, right there. And then it goes through your hole. And we're just going to put this on loosely. Okay, so now we're going to flip it over and start pinning all this Velcro in. So this kind of sneaks up under there and press it down. We're going to take our Velcro, push it together. Then we're going to take this one. I'm just going to give it a twist, stick it on. Here we go. Okay, so now it's time to do the last part, which is putting all the plastic pieces back on. But these seat covers rarely come with the holes cut in, so you have to cut the holes for yourself. And what I do is I'll prop the old seat cover next to my new seat cover. I'll match them up. I can tell that this plastic piece right here goes into this hole, and then all that sits in there. And so I can kind of measure it up. What I'm gonna do is my ground point will be where that bolt screws in from the other side. So I'm going to hold it there and give it a look-see. My first hole should be right around in there. So I'm not going to try to cut the exact shape that they have. I'm just going to start with an X. Okay, now we've got our X. I know I need to cut more further down here. So it looks like we've got enough of a hole to do all that we need to do, and it doesn't have to be the exact same size or shape of the old hole. So now we're going to move on to the next hole, which is for this right here. We're going to do the same thing. I can kind of feel where it is. They have a third hole right here, but I just can't figure out why. So I'm just gonna move on to this hole right here. And just gonna give it a little X. Alrighty. I'm gonna go ahead and snap this in. I don't know what that third hole is for, but I guess we'll find out. Okay, so now we're going to stick this on. And you kind of have to feel with your fingers the snaps that are going to snap into this metal bar right here. I'm going to kind of slide it over my hole here. There we go. Okay, now we're going to take our plastic piece. I clipped this black piece back in. And we're going to kind of pull our wire out and slide that over until it clicks. There we go. And we're going to kind of push it back through the cloth. So I think what I'm realizing is that the cloth needs to be cut more on that side. So I'm going to take this out and do it over. Just to make sure I don't cut any wires, I'm going to slip this out so that I don't do that, because that would be just awful. Okay. Now we're going to slide it back. There we go. Now we're going to stick this back on. Okay, so it has a big chunk here, and you got to match it up with that big chunk there. There we go. And the black piece goes back on. Alrighty, now we're going to put that handle back on. This stays out because the seat belt screws into there, so we need this open. Alrighty, and that is all the pieces, and now we're going to move to the vehicle and back in. Okay, so now we are going to lift it up and put it back in. Now we're going to take our seat belt, weave it back through, and then I always just kind of test to make sure that it's on the right side, and it is. And we're going to screw it back in. Now we're going to put our plastic piece back in. I'm going to pop this off. There we go. Slip that on. And we're going to stick that back on. There we go. Perfect. Now we're going to flip it backwards. Plug it in. And then your little handle snaps back in place. And I'm going to fold it back down. What I like to do before I bolt the entire seat down is put the battery back on, make sure all the switches work. So let's go do that. Okay, we're going to take our cloth off, set that aside. There we go. Tighten it up. Alright. And we are good. Alright, now I'm just going to tighten them down. Screw these bolts in, and then I'll tighten them down. I'm going to stick this one back on first. And we put our little pops in. Alright, there we go. Swing that on. Takes a little wiggling, and go our little pops. Stick that cover back on, and boom! And that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope you enjoyed the video and maybe found it helpful. As always, I'd be happy to answer any questions you have in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you again in the garage.